Hey, 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 hey. What the heck is up, internet? It's a Saturday, Arvo, and we're gonna play some Shining Force. If this is the first time you've joined us, this is the Shining Force Join Randomizer. So it essentially shuffles all of your dudes, and that is fun. Right, so we are currently in Island Town. We fought some dudes on the ocean, and we gotta get our ship repaired. So of course there's gonna be some bits and or bobs to do while here. Let's take a quick look around the island. I haven't been talking to NPCs because when you play a game 22, 23, 24 times, you just don't want to talk to the NPCs all that much anymore. So to proceed on, we gotta talk to the king. King also runs these shops. Before we do some shopping, we're gonna rob him blind. A shower of cure. Fantastic localization there. Let's give this to anybody else. Fast, maybe. Legs of Haste. Legs of Haste are a one-use item that increases your speed by 1. Thank you. We've recently just promoted our dudes. I've realized a couple of them have gear they are ready to equip. I think I've equipped Luke. Yeah, Luke's got his heat axe. I think that's it for now. Ooh, mobility ring. Now that is an important item because that will bring up the movement of a character by 2 full points. So if you're using Guntz or Adam, well, they're a little bit more viable now. Problem with Adam is that he's got the power ring equipped because he's a little weak right now, so tell you what, we're just gonna drop this in his inventory and wait for a level or 2 and then equip it. Of life. Bread of Life is a one-time use item that will slightly increase your hit points. I kind of dump all of this stuff right into Max because he is very fragile after he's promoted. 1 hit point, not great, but whatever. Defense Potion. Sure you can guess what that does. Oh. Max. Defense up by 2. I will gladly accept that. And a medical herb, which is kind of useless at this point. So if we swing around here, go to the counter, the king will come down to do his capitalism stuff. We're gonna start by selling off some chaff here. No longer need the sword. Don't need this medical herb. LA can't use a sword, don't know why he's got one. Got an elven arrow, didn't even realize that. Then again, I'm not using any archers, so just sell the dumb thing. Sell the middle axe, because we've got the heat axe. Pretty powerful weapon for this early in the game. I say this early in the game, but we are halfway through the game. else? Anything else? Yeah, a couple things. Gonna sell Henry's mini skirt. We don't need it. Sell the Kenji. Don't need that either. Okay. Any deals? Deal. What are you selling? Got some gear. Using any sword users besides Max? So we've got an upgrade for our spear users. Unfortunately, it is a lance. It is more powerful than what we've got now, but a lance is only... can only reach one space, whereas a spear can reach two. So we're giving up some viability for a bit more strength. That's okay. We've got a pretty strong force. Filled up with a lot of centaurs. Yes, the join randomizer are a bit of a two-edged sword. Yes, it's fun to get random characters, but in my game, I've gotten a lot of centaurs and a lot of other lance users right off the bat. So half my team uses lances. Tanking my money. That... what else do we got? Don't need that. Okay, no, we're good. Whip those shiny new lances on all our dudes. That's only a 3-point increase, but... a lot of tough dudes in the next battle, so we kind of need the increase in strength, even though it is just minor. That it. Talk to him again and sell all those spears we no longer need. Alright. Just gonna check the second shelf. I'm sure it's just the same healing items that every shop sells. But let's check the deal. Great stuff. What do you got? Oh, just all the stuff I've sold. All good. Okay, we are ready to continue. Quick, brief peek around the island. Not a lot going on here. You do get mermaids, which are fun. It's the only time in the game where you see the mermaid sprite. You get in this boat, and you boat it around. Once again, unfortunately, not really a lot to see. There are, you know, some NPCs to talk to, but it's not really anything hidden. No items, no characters. In fact, this chapter, Chapter 5, there are no new characters that join you at all. It's just 3 battles and fucking around on this little island for a bit. But hey, at least you get mermaids, right? Careful. And then you immediately get destroyed. Sip of my drink. Staying hydrated. It's like 32 degrees. And the humidity is like 98%. So while I can appreciate that 32 degrees centigrade is not particularly super hot to some of my friends here on the internet, with that 98% humidity, I'm basically sat in a miasma of hot pea soup. It's just, it's pretty fucking unbearable over here. But hey, we're a little bit into August, so give it another month and a bit, and temperatures are going to start decreasing. We've got fall, we've got winter, we've got cold, we've got snow. I'm so hyped for the sun to go away. So yeah, there's a lot of whatever all this is. And then it leads us to a battle. Looks like somebody's dead, so I actually need to egress and heal them. Oh boy, oh boy. Get Max a turn and get out of here. Still fighting sea bats. Well, there's also hellhounds and skeletons, so yeah. Alright. Oh, it actually brings us back to town. How do I resurrect my guy? I think there's a vicar out on the water here. So what have I been doing that is not playing Shining Force? So yeah, it's been a long time since I've done like a normal video, and dude, yeah, I'm so burned out doing scripts and recording dialogue and putting together the videos that I don't know. I still want to do a couple more Trails videos, and I gotta do my Shining the Holy Ark video at some point, but yeah, I know it's disappointing, but I just don't see myself doing a lot more videos like the old way I do them, just because my videos aren't particularly long. They're only generally like 10 to 20 minutes long, but it's still a couple of hours, and my day job, I work till 1 a.m. Monday through Friday. So when I get home at, like 1:30 in the morning, the last thing I want to do is to put together a script or record dialogue. Combine that with all of my other hobbies, and it's like, I don't know. I'll still do the occasional video, but it's definitely not going to be a new video every 2 weeks. I mean, as it is right now, I'm barely doing a stream of Shining Force every 2 weeks. I want to do it every 1 week, but it seems like there's always something that is stopping me from doing it every week. So it's every 2 weeks, essentially. You're gonna see me play loose on this map just because a lot of the enemies are off to the sides, and you can kind of just like rush up through the middle and get to the boss and move on. And it being such a wide open map, I don't feel like running back and forth. Despite the fact that the land effect on these tiles is 0, so everybody gets to move around pretty easily. I still just want to get out of this battle as soon as possible. But yeah, still gonna do videos, just like not nearly as often as I have been doing them, so I'm sorry for that, but it's just no time and no motivation and 1,000 other things to do. Oh, hey Vexy, welcome to the chat. Hope you're doing okay this Saturday afternoon. We're here to kill some skeletons. What else have I been doing? I've been playing a lot of Overwatch just because it's cathartic and I don't have to sit down with a bunch of guides and read a bunch of dialogue. It's just like, here's 3 to 7 minutes for a match. And it's like, that's just like, that's the right amount of time for the right amount of dopamine. Thank you, Vexy. I appreciate it. Other than that, slowly working on the next album. It's a new She-Ra album. The last album was 4 or 5 years ago. Kinda old school, heavy metal. Kinda inspired by bands like Manila Road and Slough-Feg. I know it's a very small portion of my audience who watches these videos who care at all about old school heavy metal, but that's what it is. 5 magic points. You know, it's guitar solos and bass guitar and double bass drums and songs about slapping goblins around. I've got, I think, 5 of 11 songs done. Yeah, let me tell you, Overwatch matches are pretty quick. The match I played just before this was literally 3 minutes long. It was, we got in, the enemy team was not great at all, and I'm not a great player myself, but we mowed through them very quickly. Beyond Overwatch and beyond writing music, what else have I been doing? Slowly making my way through Trails from Zero. I'm in chapter 3, and there's 4 chapters and an epilogue, so I think I'm about halfway through. I'm enjoying it, but it's, yeah, I don't know, I don't really like the characters as much as I like the characters from the first couple of games. But the gameplay is still fun. The music's fun. Definitely not a fan of the up-resed backgrounds and whatnot, because they've been done with AI, and it's very clear they've been done with AI, because you will have what was once unreadable text upscaled, and it's still unreadable, but now it's just garbled letters. Yeah, it's just absolute mess. But I don't want to devote too much time to negativity. Yes, AI sucks. Yes, AI should go away. That's really the end of that conversation, in my opinion. Beyond that, yeah, not much going on, really. Just kind of trying to keep it together. I've been into the hospital a couple of times. I've been into the dentist a couple of times. I'm on about 10,000 new meds. Doing a dumb job. Trying to live through the heat. Oh, I started a new venture, actually. I've started putting out short stories on Royal Road. Ooh, 6 hit points. Awesome. For a while, any like longtime listeners know I've tried to do a RPG Maker game a couple of times. I've got like a story kind of based around Phantasy Star tropes with a little bit of Shining Force mixed in, just because those were, you know, the games of my youth, and I've always wanted to make my own kind of like Shining Force, but with like Phantasy Star vibes. Yeah, learning RPG Maker, it's a pretty straightforward program, and there's lots of really great tutorials, but I kind of just don't want to devote the time to doing it, so after like hundreds of hours into the project, it's like, I can't make a game, and I shelved it all. Then I tried to do a visual novel, because that's a lot less intensive of a learning curve, and you just really need to write and then put it all into a program. But even that was just, you know, like I keep saying, like, you know, when you're an adult and you've got a full-time job and you gotta pay rent and you gotta do this and do that, and you've already got hobbies, trying to find hundreds of hours to master a program is a big ask. So once again, you know, cool stories I've had on, you know, my mind for years kind of go into the nowhere zone. It's like, well, these stories will never be told. And then it clicked to me, like, you know, I'm almost 44 years old, and it's like, well, geez, I mean, I'm trying to tell a story. Why don't I just tell a story? So instead of trying to, like, figure out how to make Shining Force style battles or make a visual novel, as cool as either of those would be, why not just, like, put the stories out? Like, if there's one thing that I'm barely confident in, it's that I can put together some cool sounding words in a couple of sentences. I've been doing that for years. Even before I became like an actual musician, I wrote lyrics. I had hundreds of sets of lyrics saved up in a folder, which is now unfortunately long lost due to my hard drive fail of a couple years ago. But you know, it's like, why don't you just put out the stories? So I've been putting out, like, this is only my second week doing it. I'm putting out the Phantasy Star Shining Force thing. It's called Synthetic Sun. It's like a kind of a sci-fi story. There's one chapter out of that now. I've also got one chapter out for a story set in the Elk universe. Now, Elk you might know as the TTRPG that I attempted to make. Planned to have it out like a year ago, and now a year past when it was supposed to be out, I've canceled it because I clearly don't have the means to put it together. But, you know, this world is based off of an album that I wrote years ago called Void, and it's by the band Elk. The Dungeon Synth album, so it's like 55 minutes of just like dreary black metal inspired keyboards. But there's like a story that goes along with it in this like post-apocalyptic world where there was like essentially a magic nuke that went off that destroyed the atmosphere, and now this world is covered in clouds, and it's always snowing, and it's always dark, and it's this haggard, hard world that people still live in. But all of these different races like elves and humans and rat people and goblins, they all cooperate together, so they all still, you know, they can survive through this post-apocalyptic world. So it's like I've got all of this like story and world building all saved up, and it's like, let's just tell that story as well. So today I put out the first chapter of that story. And I've got a host of short stories that I've been writing over the years. I've got a couple of short stories for the Synthetic Sun world. I've got a couple of short stories for the Elk world. And I've got this visual novel based on my Rachel Winters character that I was going to do at some point. So I've got the plan right now, and it's a lofty plan, but out of everything that I do besides music, for me at least, it's the least intensive way to tell a story. It's literally just by telling the story. So I've got the main Synthetic Sun story that I'm telling. That'll be one chapter out every now and then. I've got the Elk story. It's called Dirtbag's Journey. That is, there's one chapter of that out now. There'll be new chapter here and there. I've got the short stories for the Synthetic Sun world. I've got the short stories for the Elk world. I've got my old assorted short stories that are all just like random one-offs. And I've got the Rachel story, which was going to be a visual novel, which is now just going to be a story. So I've got all of this stuff and like chapters and chapters and chapters of stuff already written. And so yeah, for the near future, pretty much every week there's going to be a new chapter, because I can sit down and in an hour I can write, a decent little chapter or a decent little short story. Like yesterday, when I was announcing the Elk story to my Discord, it took me about an hour and 20 minutes to get the link out and say, hey guys, I'm doing this now, blah, 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 blah. And I was listening to Killing Joke, their album, Killing Joke. And one of my favorite songs from that album is Asteroid. I'm like, man, I'm going to write just right now, I'm going to whip out a text file and I'm going to write a little sci-fi short story about an asteroid. And in the hour and 20 minutes it took me to release the Elk chapter and get everything set up on Royal Road, I had written, a nice little 5-6 page short story about an asteroid. So that is really helping me scratch that creation itch that I have without needing to learn hundreds of hours of RPG Maker or the visual novel program or even writing music. And all the music I write, there's always like a little story that goes along with it. But now I can just sit down, turn off the videos, turn off the music, just sit in silence and just like focus. And it's almost like meditation, because it's just my brain focusing on one thing, and I'm putting words together and weaving these little stories, and I'm having so much fun doing it that it's like every day I do a little bit of writing. And when you sit down to like write music, you gotta get a guitar out, or you gotta get your keyboard out, and you gotta set up Reaper, and you gotta get plugins ready, and it's a whole process. Where if you're sitting down to write something, it's like literally like Asteroid came on the album. It's like, oh, I love this song. Let's do a story about an asteroid right now. It was like within 10 seconds of the song started, I was already writing a story. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun doing that over the last couple of weeks. If you're interested in reading any of it, I don't have a link prepared or anything. It's on Royal Road. Just search for, I don't even know what to have. Like, I barely use the website other than put up my own stories. So I'm sure if you search for R.A. Winters, that's my pen name, I'm sure it'll come up. If not, search for Synthetic Sun. You'll know it's my story because it's a pixel art girl with pink pigtails. Search for Dirtbag. I'm sure that'll bring up Dirtbag's Journey. It's a bit more of a gritty cover of a non-binary spear wielder in a dungeon. So yeah, if you're interested in terrible post-apocalyptic heartbreaking stories, go read Elk. If you want something a bit more uplifting and with a Phantasy Star vibe, go read Synthetic Sun. Or eventually, you know, Rachel's story, which I don't want to talk about just yet, will be out. And my short stories, you know, if you're on my Tumblr, which you're probably not, because there's only like 3 people on my Tumblr. Those are just random short stories. Some of them are personal, some of them are just made up on the spot. Some of them are really dark sci-fi, post-apocalyptic things. Yeah, writing. Who would have known? Great fun. Oh, thank you, Vexy. I really appreciate that. And if anybody who's watching this wants to join Discord, it is, you know, it's... I don't want to say it's free to join, because I have a Patreon right now. It is open for anybody to join. So if you find it, I think there might be a link on my Twitch. Feel free to join. You know, it's just... it's a bunch of queer communists talking about staying hydrated in these warm times, so... If that's your, you know, if that's your buzz, you know, come on and join us. We're there, miserable, but trying to make the best of, you know, the world that we live in. But once again, I don't want to get too distracted by the grim dankness of it all. So, yeah, come and read some stories. Come and talk about Devo. I just watched the Devo movie that Netflix put out a year or 2 ago. That was very cool. As a hardcore Devo fan, you know, getting to see Mark Mothersbaugh and Jerry Casale and Bob One, you know, talk about Devo stuff, especially early Devo stuff when they were like barely musicians. That's really cool. But the actual like storytelling itself of the documentary, even if you're not a Devo fan, it's still a pretty good watch. You know, it's a good like band documentary. It's like, here's a band and they struggled and this is what they did in the early days, and then they had success and then they had less success, but they're still here like 50 years later writing, you know, albums and, you know, doing shows constantly. That's cool, but it's also just like there's a lot of you know, discussion about like leftist politics and, you know, fuck Ronald Reagan. And then there's like talk about art movements like Dadaism, and it's just a really good watch. Like it's like threefold. It's like, it's for Devo fans, it's for fans of people who like a good band documentary, and then it's a good watch for people who just like discussion of politics and art. It's really cool. And Vexy says, we're living that elk life with synthetic dreams. And yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And yeah, like I said, we're just mowing through this battle just because it's a battle. That's what's cool about Shining Force, is that you've got the strategy, but every now and then you'll just have an instance where you can just steamroll through a bunch of enemies, and that feels so good. Like, I don't feel like that is possible in most of the Fire Emblem games. Fire Emblem games, you know, since all of your characters move and then all of the enemy characters move, you kind of have to like, wow, attack goes up by 5. Yeah, Pele, absolutely pornographic stats up, like easily the best centaur. Pardon me, look at that, attack of 40 points. Good grief. Yeah, like, the big difference between Shining Force and Fire Emblem for me, and I've talked about this before, is with Shining Force, you've got an agility system. With Fire Emblem, all of your characters go and then all of the enemy characters go. So with Shining Force, like every, like, you can't even really call it a round because it's just like here, like whoever has the highest agility moves, then the next highest agility, then the next highest agility. So every quote unquote round is going to look a lot different from the previous one. Whereas in Fire Emblem, you do have like, well, this is all of the enemies going, and then it's all of us going, then it's all of the enemies, then it's all of them. So they both lead to, I prefer the agility system myself, but the Fire Emblem system is also fine. But both systems lead to very different ways of, I don't know, planning your strategy, planning your tactics. Like with a high enough agility, like occasionally I will get Tao to have 2 turns in a row. That doesn't happen in Fire Emblem. Yes, sometimes when you attack, you'll attack twice, but that happens in Shining Force as well. I mean like 2 proper turns. Like, Tao casts Blaze level 2, she gets her experience, her turn ends, but her agility is so high that it's the next round, she's immediately gone to the first of the queue, and she's getting a second go. That doesn't happen in Fire Emblem. It's just like, here's all your dudes, here's all the enemy dudes. And I feel like with the agility system, it's, I don't want to say it's easier, but it feels a lot more fluid and less game-like. Alright, so we've plowed through all of these guys. Still on our way to the gate, but we're getting denied. Alright, so we've only just arrived, but now it's time to leave. Yes, Chapter 5 is a pretty short chapter. Alright, so this is the actual, yeah, the portraited mermaid. Cool and fun. So we're ready to leave, but I do want to get, I think someone died in that battle. Did someone die? I guess not. I was so enraptured talking about writing that yeah, that whole battle is a bit of a blur. I will continue my journey. Right. Ready to go. Gotta go talk to the king. Oh, it's 1 million coins to leave. Ah, comic hijinks. Alright, we're back on the ocean, back on our quest. Alright. Now there is a hidden item in this battle, but I'm not gonna bother getting it, I don't think. It's somewhere down around here. It's another one of those, like, why is this here? In Chapter 3, you had to get the Moonstone so that the alchemist could make Lunar Dew so you could save Xylo. For some reason, I think it's in one of these spaces right here. There's a hidden chest with a Moonstone in it. Cannot do anything with it, so it may have been a hidden item just because, or it could be like the marionette in that one battle, just a weird bit of code that exists and it shouldn't be there, but it is. So since it's not particularly exciting, I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to try and grab it. But I'll be down in the neighborhood anyway, so who knows? Yeah, I think this battle has a lot of enemies that just appear out of thin air, so. One damage. One more damage. Only Max had a defense like that. What is his defense, like 12 or something? 16 compared to Adam. 22. Oh, God. Alright, alright. Try to play a little bit more conservatively on this map because there are so many flying enemies. And there are enemies that appear that I don't want to get caught out. Yes, I'd hide my moonstone in a secret chest on a ship that travels halfway across the world. The perfect place to hide it. It would be nice to get Adam 2 levels up in this battle. But I would settle for just 1 level up. Awesome stuff, level 9. Yes, there was a sale on Steam earlier this week, and Trails Through Daybreak? No, Trails Beyond the Horizon. That's the most recent Trails game, was finally on sale. So despite the fact I won't get to play it for a while, I grabbed it. So now I've literally got all of the Trails games. I'm looking forward to getting beyond the Crossbell games, not because I'm not jiving completely with the characters, but just because I'm ready to. Wow, Anri defense goes up by 8. Holy shit. Speed by 4, 1 hit point, freeze level 3. Man, what a level up. Yeah, I'm just ready to get past the aesthetics of those early Trails games and to get into like something polygonal. You know me, I prefer like pixel graphics, but at the same time, I'm just ready to move on to something that looks a little bit different. So yeah, let's get through these Trails games. There's a lot of them still to go. Yeah, a lot of hidden guys in Shining Force too. Maybe too many, in fact. All right. I've got all these damaged enemies, and I kinda want to farm them out a bit. Like, Henry and Aleph are actually doing pretty good now. But I still want to get Adam some experience. He's halfway to level 3. And I know I've been saying now for like 5 chapters, Adam is good. And I'm still trying to to show the evidence of that. It's just, if we get 1 or 2 more levels in him, his strength will hopefully go up by a decent amount, and then we can get the running ring on him, and then, yeah, then we'll be good. It is a lot of bats, though. Yeah, let's... He's only level 2, so... Nah. Oh, wow, that was enough to get him to level 3. Alright. Attack up by 3. 5 hit points. Alright. Alright, Max is very close to a level, so... Might be a bit overkill, but he needs it, so... Speed up by 7, but... No attack and no defense, which is what the man needs. At least he got 4 hit points, so... Man, he's just so fragile. And while there are protect rings in Shining Force, you don't actually get one for your own team. They're only items that appear on enemies, which I don't quite get, but here we are. This guy's not even damaged. Come on, Adam, hit him. Right. What a roller coaster of emotions that was. Holy cow. You do get the white ring, but only Max and Vickers can equip it. So it's great for Max when he gets it right at the end of chapter 7. Or you can chuck it on Tarasu or Chris or whoever. You can use it as Aura level 2, which is also great. But it's so late into the game when you get it. You get a little bit earlier in Shining Force 2, but you're still really within the last 6 or 7 battles of the game. You know, I very rarely actually use the cursed equipment. I don't mind it when, you know, you take some damage from attacking with the cursed equipment, but what always gets me is when you attack, and then it's like, oh, the cursed ring stopped you from attacking, and you just stand there and you essentially waste your turn. That I can't handle. I take that as a personal slight every time. Alright, what do we got going on over here? Oh god, pardon me, I'm yawning. That's my narcolepsy. You girls got narcolepsy so bad that when I was at the dentist this week, by the time the procedure was over, the dentist says to me, he's like, Richard, you're the first person who's ever fallen asleep during dental surgery that I've ever seen. I'm like, oh, you know, that's diabetes. Oh, hello, Cirrus. Thank you for the news about the Devil Lance. I didn't know that. Maybe I'll get that equipped this time around. Also, I like the Super Meat Boy emoji. That's cute. I haven't thought about Super Meat Boy in a long time. Another game I'm absolutely terrible at, but every now and then I'll just boot it up and play the first couple of levels and... oh yeah, this is really fluid and cool. What's going on? Aleph is a decent enough level that I'll just kind of put her out there. Not bad, not bad. Probably can only take 2 hits, though. Yeah. Alright, so once again, I can only go after the bat. Hopefully we'll hit him. Oh my god. Guys, let me tell you, I love Shining Force, but at the same time, fuck Shining Force. Good grief. Whereas Ernest is just out here destroying Pegasus Knights. Yeah, I'll try the trick with the lance and the ring once I manage to pick them up. I've got enough centaurs, so we'll get Gunts a bit of experience. Level 2. Tanky Domingo. Now listen, I'm old enough that when Final Fantasy VII was announced and I saw the polygons, initially when I saw them in a magazine, I was not happy at all. Like, my transition from pixel graphics into polygonal graphics was pretty bumpy. I still think a lot of Saturn games and even a lot of PlayStation games look bad. And I know right now, like, that PlayStation 1 low polygon aesthetic is like really in with indie devs. It doesn't really do much for me. But what sold me on Final Fantasy VII, when I was a little goblin, we had, in a local mall. Now, a mall is like, imagine analog Amazon. Imagine if Amazon was in a building and everything that was sold was chopped up into different places. You had one subdivision of the mall which had magazines, one had food, one had electronics. But on the weekend, or on the Sundays, when everything was closed in our portion of Canada, because Christian rules, all the shops were closed on a Sunday, but we had a flea market. So you'd have all of these individual stalls all set up in the mall selling things, and you had the guy selling fresh caught mackerel. You had a bunch of guys selling used CDs, and guys selling games, and people selling clothes, and there was always 2 or 3 guys with games, and one group of dudes who I was constantly buying games from, they had a PlayStation and a Japanese copy of Final Fantasy VII. And it was just like, I think it was like it wasn't a demo. It was like they were a couple hours into the game, and it was a battle sequence, and it was Cloud, and it was Tifa, and I think it was Yuffie. And watching all of these characters in big polygonal models move around in battle, like when I saw them in the magazine, it's like, I want a game that looks like Final Fantasy VI, the perfect Final Fantasy game. But when I saw Final Fantasy VII in motion, it's like, I'm not gonna get a Saturn. I'm gonna get a PlayStation. And I'm gonna play the shit out of Final Fantasy VII. And I did, and I played all the way through it twice, doing everything in it. And I never want to play Final Fantasy VII ever again. It was great, and I had a lot of fun with it, but thinking back now about those polygonal models, dude, Final Fantasy VI is gorgeous. It's like top 10 of, like, you know, best looking video games for me. Final Fantasy VII and a lot of those PlayStation games, I know once again it's like really in right now, that aesthetic. I just can't deal with it, man. Those early polygonal graphics, I think, look real bad. But man, sit me down in front of Final Fantasy VI, and I think about replaying Final Fantasy VI all the time. But it's going to be 99 hours, and I've got all these Trails games, and I've got... There are so many RPGs to play right now. Like, when I was a kid, and, like, the PlayStation wasn't out yet, what RPGs did we have? You know, it's like 8 RPGs on the Genesis, a whole bunch on the Super Nintendo, so you could foreseeably sit down and play through all of the RPGs. And it's like, well, I've played every single RPG on the Genesis and on the Super Nintendo. I guess I could play the couple that are on the TurboGrafx and the Sega CD, but even then, that's only 3 or 4 more games. But now it's like, there's RPGs that I missed on the Super Nintendo, RPGs I missed on the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, 4, not on the 5 because there are no games on the PlayStation 5. There are a couple of games on the Xbox 360 that I still want to play. Countless games on the PC. There are so many RPGs now that I will never catch up. It will be impossible to catch up. So to devote 99 hours into another playthrough of Final Fantasy VI, as much as I know I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to love it, one of my favorite games, on one of my favorite systems, one of my favorite soundtracks, I just don't know if I can put 99 hours into a game that's not new, or a game that I haven't played previously. Oh, I've played Phantasy Star 4 is like tied with Shining Force 2 as my favorite game of all time. I have actually recently replayed that about maybe 2 years ago, just because I wanted to do a video for the channel. And that's another game I think about replaying all the time, because I've played it through so much. And I'm so used to it, but it's still like, every time I sit down to play it, it's like the Phantasy Star 4 soundtrack. And it's gonna sound crazy, my absolute favorite soundtrack of all time. And it's written by someone who's only done like 3 game soundtracks. I mean, the Phantasy Star 4 soundtrack's written by 2 people, predominantly by the one person whose name I forget right now. She did most of the music. Then there was a secondary musician who did some of the music. Bolt 2, amazing. But yeah, that soundtrack, just the way it weaves between like organic sounding music and like techno and trance and electronic music. There are some flourishes of like doom metal in there, like in the final boss music, Ooze, which is one of my favorite pieces of game music ever. Cybernetic Carnival, which is like this like prog metal with like a crazy keyboard solo in it. It's just absolutely Phantasy Star 4 favorite OST of all time. Yeah, Phantasy Star 4's got fantastic sprite work. Those comic book panels are that is essentially what I was going for with Synthetic Sun. The cutscenes in that game, I was going to hire somebody to do professional portraits of cutscenes, because my ability to do sprites is fine enough to do like overhead sprites and terrain and building panels and stuff like that. But then I was going to hire somebody to do battle graphics, and I was going to hire somebody to do cutscenes. But here we are, years later, and hundreds of hours put into it, and just no feasible way to finish it. But those Phantasy Star 4 cutscenes are... I think about those things all the time. Just some of my absolute favorite sprite work. And the battle scenes all look good, and it's like that old school wizardry style, but your characters are still on screen. Oh man, I love Phantasy Star 4 so much. I wonder if there's any good, like, Phantasy Star 4, like, not like a character join randomizer, but some sort of, like, randomizer. It'd be nice to go back and play Phantasy Star 4 again, but have, like, a slightly different experience with it. I'll have to have a look into that. Once we're done Shining Force, that might be something fun to do. Seven defense points for Gunts. And 5 speed. 7 hit points! Ah, very cool. So for people who are watching the VOD, Sirius is just saying that there is a Phantasy Star 4 mod, and he knows the person who made it, so... Oh, also one for Shining Force 2. Very cool. Yeah, once upon a time I did play a randomizer for Shining Force 2. But I went to look for it again, and I couldn't find it anywhere, so... I don't know what's happened there. Oh my god, Adam levels up finally, gets 1 attack point. 4 defense. He'll eventually be good, trust me. It's only taken half the game to get him there, but he'll be an alright character. Oh, critical hit. 32 points of damage is insane. Seven defense. Holy cow. You know, I said I wasn't gonna go for this, this Moonstone, but I'm here, so I might as well have a peek around. Pardon me. Alright, level 10 for Domingo. Attack up by 4. Not helpful, because attack is low anyway, but, you know, hey. We're level 10 with Domingo. Alright. This should get Max up to level 4. I would have liked to have gotten another level for Adam, but Max is definitely a priority right now. Attack up by 2. defense up by 1. Are you serious? Speed up by 8. Can we get this man some defense points, please? Defense 17. Oh my god. I've played through Landstalker twice when I was a kid. Obviously that was 10,000 years ago. Every now and then I'll load it up and kind of mess around with it for a bit, but I don't really have the drive to play through it again. I was super excited when they announced a remake on PlayStation Portable back in the day. Like, oh, what a quaint game to remake. And it never came to be. Yeah, good music in Landstalker. I believe it's the same guy who did the music in Shining Force 2? Or is it Shining Force 1? I used to know. Oh, sorry, no, it's not the Moonstone in this battle. It's the Teppo. Where's the Moonstone here as well? The Teppo is a gun, but no one can equip it, so, See, now I kind of want to see if the Moonstone is in this battle. I've talked about it so much that I feel like I have to look for it. Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Sirius. I appreciate that. And once again, back in the day when it was just like the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, like I had all of this stuff memorized, but so much esoteric RPG information has gone into my brain that a lot of it is either forgotten or has been pushed out, or yeah, just trying to keep track of all of it now. Maybe the Moonstone was in the previous battle. Just grab my phone here. Have a quick peek on the internet. Shining Force, second Moonstone location. Game faction, 2008. The Moonstone is in the first ship battle, so I apologize for that. We won't get to see it, but it was a useless inclusion anyway. I don't know if you can sell it for a couple of gold. Alright, let's kill this shellfish and get on to chapter 6. I would love to get to chapter 6 and find Tau. Unfortunately, in chapter 4? Yeah, in chapter 4, sorry, no, chapter 3, I missed a flag, so that in chapter 4, I missed recruiting Kokichi. Now, Kokichi's in the team because it's a randomizer, but I missed that character, so who knows who that character was going to be. Hopefully it's not Tau, being the mascot of the YouTube channel. It would be great to have her in the team. If not, well, Henri and Aleph are doing a great job of keeping, you know, magic on the table. It would have been nice to have all three of them, plus Domingo, you know. Oh no, what's going to become of the Shining Force? Chapter 5. Right, so I'm not sure of the flags in this town, so I'm going to talk to a couple of characters a couple of times, and that should hopefully do it. The last time I played the randomizer, I got Blue, like, at the beginning of the game. Like, he joined me instead of Gort. And having him from, like, right at the beginning, very awesome. It really shows that Blue is a completely viable character. But now that we're essentially into the game where you'd want, where Blue joins anyway, he's definitely going to be a lot less viable when he joins, so I might not bother with him. So the only new weapon is the Guardian Staff, and I don't think I actually have anybody. Oh no, yeah, I've got my mages, but they don't really count because I never attack with them. So we'll upgrade them anyway, whatever. Gotta spend the money on something. You know, that's the capitalist way, right? Oh, thanks for joining, Vexy. We'll see you soon. Enjoy your afternoon. Or your morning, or whatever time it is where you are right now. I think you're an hour or two behind me, so... Oh yeah, absolutely. You need to baby Blue, but when he is all promoted, get a couple levels into him, he is a decent unit. Plus, he's a dragon. He's just cool. Hello, Lyle. Fingers crossed it's Tau. And it's May. Well, May, I love you, and you're always in my team, but at this stage of the game, with Pele and Ernest already in the team, and Gunts and Kokichi, can't see myself using her. Do want to check her stats, though. She's only level 8. Unpromoted. Sorry, May, I do not have it in me to get you up. Where am I going? Yeah, it's down here. Alright, now if I talk to her, I think that'll give me the chance to leave the battle. Right, so we're all good to go. Now, if I talk to this kid, he should push the bricks out of the way. And might just be in the what am I trying to say? The Game Boy Advance version of Shining Force, there's like a way to get around all these bushes, but I don't think there is in, yeah, there's no way to get around them in the OG game. Alright, so we've got another outside battle with loads of terrain that's going to make traveling slow. It doesn't look like there are many enemies, but this battle has a lot of dudes that just appear out of nowhere. Before I get to it, though, I need to grab my phone and address something. Give you guys a minute. Your day-to-day life intercepts with your hobbies, right? A jam though. I know people are down on the soundtrack to this game because it's a little bit short. Love the soundtrack, man. Even though I've heard this song 10,000 times. Get old. Alright, we're good to go. Sorry about that. Real life, it's a bit of a ball ache. Alright, let's kill some fucking goblins. What else has been going on in my life? I got the Switch 2 upgrade for Xenoblade 2. I never finished that game, so I've restarted it. And yeah, it looks good with the new patch. Once I'm done with Trails from Zero, I'm gonna really sit down and give that game a play. Saturn RPGs, I have played a few of them. I have played through all of the Shining Force games, or all of the Shining Force 3 games, I should say. The Shining Force 3 translation team did a great job of translating discs 2 and 3 and the bonus disc for Shining Force 3. I highly recommend them. I need to play them again because I've only played them through one time, but I enjoyed them a lot. I've played through about a third of Shining the Holy Ark, which is also very good. For my YouTube channel, I've been saying for a long time I need to do a proper video on that, which will happen at some point. What else have I played on the Saturn? I've played a little bit of the first Dragon Force game, which is cool. Might be it. I played a bit of, what's it called? So for a couple of years, I lived in the United Kingdom, so my names for some games are going to be UK versions. Whatever the sequel to Beyond Oasis is called, in the UK it's called, I think it's called Story of Thor. I played a bit of that on the Saturn. That's pretty good. Could be better. It's kind of just like a reskin of Beyond Oasis, but the fact that Beyond Oasis got a sequel anyway is pretty cool. Never played Panzer Dragoon Saga. My first wife had a copy of it, and out of the years and years that we were together, I never got the gumption to sit down and play through that game. I've only actually recently played the original Panzer Dragoon on emulator, within the last year or two. So that's one of those games that I might never get to. But it's one of those games that Sega really should put out on Steam or something. Yes, it's not going to sell 100,000 copies, but it is a critically acclaimed game that they just ignore time and time again. Thor: Chronicles of the Elemental King is the Japanese name for Story of Thor. Via Cirrus in the chat, thank you. What else have we played in the past? On the Dreamcast, there's a game called Time Stalkers, which is made by Climax. It has characters from Shining the Holy Ark and not Shining the Holy Ark, Shining of the Darkness, and some other games in it. Only played a little bit of it back in the day, didn't quite get it. Replaying it years and years later, it's kind of like a roguelite, which back in the day was a pretty weird thing. Another game I need to sit down and properly play at some point. Oh, very nice. I do enjoy a good speed run. I like the Phantasy Star 2 speed run because it's so esoteric. And it's only 42 minutes or something silly. So every now and then I'll just put it on. It's yeah, just put it on the background. It's basically just a guy shuffling through menus for 40 minutes. And it's there, I finished Phantasy Star 2. Oh man, what a good watch. Do enjoy a good speed run. It's not for me. I don't have the dedication, and my narcolepsy would keep me constantly falling asleep. But I do like to watch a good speed run every now and then. Speaking of narcolepsy. Oh, so sorry. You know, I only had a full, proper 8 hours of sleep, and my brain is trying to tell me I haven't been asleep in days. Don't get diabetes, you guys. It's, man, people like to, make fun of diabetes, but man, it is no fun at all, dude. Alright, so we've got a bunch of mages and worms that have appeared out of nowhere. It's the perfect time to whip out some spells. And this is why I always bring as many magic users as I can, because late in the game, you know, a lot of enemies are, you know, resistance to being punched in the face. And magic bypasses their defense, but you can also, you know, wipe out huge swathes of guys who just appear all next to each other. Oh, come on. Thank you. Whoa, what? I attacked and missed. Got a second attack out of it, and missed again. You call that a piss take. Level 6 and didn't gain a point of anything. But Pele's level ups have been out of this world, so I do not even mind. Five. Defense up by 5, speed up by 5. I will not say no. Yeah, Balbaroy is like the go-to for speedruns for some reason. I think it involves that that power ring trick that you mentioned previously. I don't know, Balbaroy for me just always falls apart. But I'm also not a dedicated speedrunner, so, you know. I get the Shining Force 2 speedrun of Peter, because Peter is a monster. Shouldn't be too bad. Pretty close to being dead. Okay, I get you. Try attacking with Domingo, just to see what his power is like currently. Not good. Fortunately, my mages are kinda stuck on this crappy terrain. A 4, a 1, 3 hit points. Absolutely fine level up for Gladiator. It's weird to see Adam up in front of everybody else, but hey, you know, that's the terrain. Another mage? Get out of here. A speed run for Shining Force 2 without Peter? Now that's interesting. cheeky and send Kokichi up here. Get these golems to appear finally. Alright. Level 11. Speed up by 5. 5 hit points. 2 magic points. Domingo, a very stout little character. Not a lot of damage at all. Like I keep saying, unfortunately, as much as we love Xylo, he does kinda fall off a bit, unfortunately. Whoa. Wow, I had no idea that there was a way to skip that much of Shining Force 2. That's wild. Yeah, Adam not being impacted by land effect, or at least less than others. Once again, it's a neat little feature that he has. Unfortunately, Wargbot seemed to do 1 damage. Yeah. Alright, but I hit twice, so let's get this boy a level up. Ah, come on. Come on. Still halfway there to go. Oh my god. Kill these stupid golems. Let's get out of here. Speed up by 6. Hoping that freeze will do 6 damage and not 7. We can get some more experience for Adam. No, we fucked it. Oh well. Now the next battle, the battle against Cain. That is another level where I normally will grind characters. So, I'm not going to do extensive grinding, but I will probably try to get a couple of levels for Max and a couple of levels for Adam. Because we definitely need levels for Max, and if Adam doesn't soon start acclimating to being a decent unit, I will just have to remove him. Like I keep saying, he is a viable character, but you really need to pamper him, and unless you're a grind sicko like me, odds are you're not going to spend that much time with him. Especially when you've got characters right out of the box like Pele and Vankar, who are just murder machines right from go. Alright, let's have a look at Freeze, level 3. Definitely gonna be overkill, but... hell yeah. Level 5. 1, defense by 2, speed by 1, 3 hit points, 4 magic points. Pretty darn good level up. An axe looking cracked, so... That's crazy. I had no idea Shining Force 2 was so broken. Bolt level 2 with its massive grid that it hits. Fantastic. Level 5. Attack by 2, defense by 2, speed by 3, hit points by 1, magic points by 1. And okay level up for a mage. Could have done with some more magic points. Much as I love Bolt, it is a bit expensive to cast. Negligible. If you can say anything about Adam, at least he's got really high defense. Let's go crazy with the placement. The heat axe is still not damaged. Unless... maybe in Shining Force it doesn't show the damage. In Shining Force 2 it does. So yeah, your usable items, they will eventually crack, and if you use them while they're cracked, they're destroyed. I don't remember if it's this one or the second game, but usually you'll see if the item is cracked by looking at it on the status screen, but that might be the second game. Thankfully, the axe still hasn't cracked yet, because it'll give you a little notification in battle. Okay, Shining Force 1 has no icon. Thank you, Cirrus. That means I need to start paying attention when I use the axe. 4, speed by 3, hit points by 1. Not a great level up for Gunts. We use a couple attack points. Well done. Alright, so no level up, but he is only a couple of points away. Very excited for that. Very small level up. At it. Alright, so the next battle is after, well, it's kind of in the next town, but I want to save the town and the battle for the next video, because I like Dragonia. It's the city of dragons. So that's fun, but we're going to save that for next time. And it'll be next Saturday. I know I've kind of had like a 2-week schedule, but hopefully moving forward it'll be every week. But I won't promise anything because that's yeah, I don't want to overextend myself. So that's it for now. Thank you to everybody who joined the chat. Thank you, Vexy. Thank you, Cirrus. You both kept the chat alive while I smacked some goblins around. I really appreciate it. For RPG Fortress, I'm Richard. I'll see you next time, and don't forget to hug a cat. Goodbye for now.